Thank you so much for joining me this morning, everybody. This is Deep Power. And before we start moving together, just want to talk about this notion of light and share with you some words by the poet Jan Richardson. I don't know if any of you had the chance to watch the inauguration this past week. The young poet Amanda Gorman shared just a really powerful poem about light. Well, the last line of the poem was, if there will always be light, only if we are brave enough to be it. And so that got me thinking about this particular poem that my good friend Vicki Overfelt shared with me some years ago, and actually this past year. And this is called How the Light Comes. And so you can open up to these words this morning as we start our practice. I cannot tell you how the light comes. What I know is that it is more ancient than imagining, that it travels across an astounding expanse to reach us, that it loves searching out what is hidden, what is lost, what is forgotten, or in peril, or in pain. That it has a fondness for the body, for finding its way toward flesh, for tracing the edges of form, for shining forth through the eye, the hand, the heart. I cannot tell you how the light comes, but that it does, that it will, that it works its way into the deepest dark that enfolds you. Though it may seem long ages in coming, or arrive in a shape you did not foresee. And so may we this day turn ourselves toward it. May we lift our faces to let it find us. May we bend our bodies to follow the arc it makes. May we open and open more and open still to the blessed light that comes. May we open and open more and open still to the blessed light that comes. So I'd like for us in our practice this morning, part of our collective intention, to turn toward the light and feeling into the sense of hope, and however that speaks to you this morning. And so let's go ahead and feel into the breath. Allow the eyes to close for just a moment. Feel the expansion of the in-breath and the release and the cleansing of the out-breath. And this gentle expansion and contraction of the breath that we will follow through our practice. And on your next in-breath, let's go ahead and stretch the arms all the way up alongside the ears, reaching tall. And then exhale, the hands come together in front of the heart. Good, and again like that, the arms stretch wide and reach all the way up. And then exhale, hands together in front of the heart. And one more just like that, full breath in, stretch up. And exhale, hands together, heart center. Good. Release your hands down. Stretch just your right arm up. And you're going to come up and over into a side bend, side stretch. And you can even explore a little bit of movement here. Maybe you turn your chest more open toward the ceiling and then close it a little bit. Turn the chest down, like a little kind of variation of cat-cow here. Just exploring some opening and some movement here. Take another full breath. And then stretch back up. Inhale. And exhale, release that right arm down. And we'll take the other side. So left arm reaches up. And coming up and over into your side bend, side body stretch. Feeling here the left side. And maybe working with a little bit of gentle cat-cow variation, turning your chest up and open, and then down toward the floor. Good. And opening just a little bit more with each and every breath here. Good. Stretch it all the way back up, lengthen, and release that left hand back down. Good. Bring your hands behind you, uncross your legs, plant your feet to the floor, pull the shoulders back, lift the chest up. Take another inhale here, kind of leading with your heart. And maybe keep it here, or you can lift your hips, so lift your pelvis up into a tabletop position, opening up the shoulders and the wrists a little bit, maybe a little shifting, rocking forward and back. Take one more breath here. Exhale, release back down to the floor, and we'll just windshield wiper the knees side to side. Starting to feel into this movement, into this flow. Take another breath here. And then let's make our way back to, forward to your hands and your knees. So as you come forward, we'll move here through cat-cow. Inhale, open up the chest, lifting through the tailbone, opening the heart. Exhale, tuck your tailbone and round your spine. Chin to chest. Inhale to open and lift, expand. And then exhale to round through the spine. Good. And you can start to take this a little bit further. So maybe on your exhale, you sit all the way into child's pose, all the way back toward your heels. And then as you inhale, come forward, maybe drop down through the pelvis and open the chest into a little cobra or sphinx. So let's go ahead and toggle back and forth between these two extreme spinal flexion and extension, and starting to mobilize and warm up the spine and the muscles of the back. Good. Take one more round here, everybody. And then make your way into downward facing dog. So this first downward dog of practice, and lift the knees up and off of the mat. A little bit of shifting or pedaling through the feet. Coming into this first downward facing dog, lifting through your core, staying strong and rooted through your hands and your feet. Let your neck go. Let your jaw relax. And think about, with each and every inhale, lifting a little bit through the pelvis and through your tailbone. And as you exhale, moving your chest just a little bit closer toward your feet, not to the point where you're compromising your shoulders. It can be really subtle. It can even just be your intention. Taking one more breath here. Bend your knees and look forward, step or hop toward the top of your yoga mat. And then as you inhale, flat back. So lengthen and extend your spine. Exhale, fold, and bring it in. Good, try that again. Inhale, flat back, chest and belly lift away from the thighs. And exhale, fold. Good. Hang out here for just a moment. Let your head shake no, and then nod yes. Maybe sending a sigh or two out your mouth. Good. And then come all the way up to standing. So feel your feet on the ground, stretch and lengthen up through the arms and reach. Exhale, bring your hands together in front of the heart. Good, you guys. Take the arms back up on in-breath, stretch up tall, lift and lengthen. Exhale, dive forward and fold. Inhale to a halfway lift, lengthen through your spine. Exhale, fold and bring it in, maybe a little bit deeper. Come all the way up to standing. So anchor through your feet, stretch up. Maybe start to reach slightly behind you, a little back bend. And then exhale, hands together in front of your heart. Good, take the arms back up, inhale, stretch up tall. Exhale, dive forward and fold. Uttanasana. Flat back as you inhale, lift and lengthen. Take your hands to the floor this time. Make your way to plank, upper push-up. Hold here for just a couple of breaths, strong and lifted through the belly, through your core. Good. And then lower down, Chaturanga Dandasana. Elbows hug in, belly and chest down. Inhale, open up into your cobra. And then exhale, downward facing dog. Good. Feel the ground here. Feel the presence of your breath. Good. Last full inhale. Again, think about lifting up a little bit more through the tailbone, through the hips. Bend your knees and look forward. Step or hop to the top of your mat. Extend your spine, halfway lift. And exhale, fold. Bend your knees and sit into a chair pose, Uttanasana. Keeping the feet parallel, strong through your legs. Take another full breath here. Sit deeper into that chair. Bend your elbows and open up through your chest, lifting up through the heart. So think about squeezing the shoulder blades toward one another on the back, lifting up through the sternum. Good. Take one more breath, turning the heart up one more degree. And then release your arms down, clasp the hands behind your back. So we're going to pull the shoulders back. Even try to suction cup the heels of your hands together if you're able. A little bend in your elbows, trying to pull elbows and shoulder blades toward one another on the back. Take two more breaths. Good, and then send it into a forward fold. Now you can keep your clasp if you'd like. Let your head come down. Chest and belly toward the thighs. Two more breaths. Good, Release your clasp and bring your hands down toward the floor. Halfway lift, lengthen through your spine. Plant your hands, take a step or light hop back, move through your chaturanga. Cobra or upward facing dog on the in-breath, and then exhale to downward facing dog. Good, so stretch your right leg back into a three-legged downward facing dog. Take a couple of breaths here. Try to keep everything really steady and strong and supported. Good, take another full breath, lift and lengthen through that leg, then bend your right leg, turn your hip open, so pointing that right knee out to the right. One more full breath here, so feel into that length through the side body, and then step your right foot through. We're going to come into a high lunge position. So really fire up through your legs and your core, and send your arms up alongside your ears. Good, so think about your hips squaring off, squeezing toward midline with inner thighs. Take another full breath here. And then, as we did in chair pose, we're going to bend the elbows, goalpost the arms, and bend the back knee at a hover. Okay, so we're going to take a few more breaths here, and you might start to lift the chest up and open toward the ceiling. 2 more full breaths. Good, and stretch back up, inhale, take your hands to the floor out in front of you. Pick up your back leg coming into a standing split. So right foot strongly rooted into the floor, left leg extending up. Maybe you come a little bit deeper into that fold. You could take right hand and forearm back behind the calf if you'd like here. Take a couple more breaths, folding it in. Put a little more energy in that top leg. Good, and then step the left foot to the back of the mat, ground your hands, step the right foot back so you're in plank pose. Let's shift our weight into the right hand, the right palm, roll to the outer edge of the right foot for side plank or Vashisthasana. Pull hips up. Stay strong here. Maybe take that top arm forward alongside the ear. You could even float this left leg up or touch your toes, left toes, to the ground behind you and turn your chest a little more open. Good. Take 2 more breaths here. Good. Fantastic. And then bring it back to plank pose. You can go right to down dog or take vinyasa here. Let's all meet up in downward facing dog. Good. Send your left leg back, reach it up. And take your time here. Feel your alignment. Try to keep the basic container and structure of downward dog even with the leg up. Good. Take another breath here. Reach and lengthen through that leg, active through your toes. Bend your left leg, open up through your hip without changing your shoulders and keeping your hands firmly rooted. Good, let's step the left foot all the way through. And once again, coming into that high lunge position. So arms reach up. Inner thighs pull toward that center line, squaring off the hips, strong in that lower body. Take another full breath here. And then bend your elbows, come to a goalpost position with the arms. Bend your back knee at a hover. And again, here you can start to squeeze the shoulder blades toward one another on the mat and start to open up your chest a little bit more here. Couple more breaths. Maybe turning your heart more up toward the ceiling. Good, and then stretch arms back up, straighten out that back leg, bring your hands down to the floor, and then shift your weight forward onto that left leg, take your right leg up into standing splits. So same thing here, you can keep your hands where they are, maybe take the left hand and forearm back behind your left calf. Good, couple more breaths here, active through your top leg, through your toes, reaching up toward the ceiling. Good, and then step your right foot back, and then step your left foot back. So you're back in plank pose. Shift your weight into your left hand, roll to the outer edge of that left foot, and send your right arm up. Badakhanasana, side plank. Maybe take that right arm forward, and you could even pick up this right leg. Good, or touch your toes behind you and open up your chest more toward the ceiling like a wild thing pose. 2 more full breaths here. Good, and then back to plank. Again, you can do a chaturanga here or skip it and go directly back to downward dog. Good. All right, you guys, come down to your knees, set up for dolphin pose. So forearms down to the floor, parallel, about shoulder width apart. I think most of you know the drill here. You could always clasp your hands, making a tripod. To keep those elbows reined in. Let your head go. Pick up your knees just to a hover. Imagine you had a block between the thighs, like you're squeezing in around that block. Same kind of isometric engagement, pulling toward midline with your forearms and your elbows. And then pick up your knees, send your hips up, tiptoe toward your face a little bit as you continue to move your chest just a little bit toward your feet. Your head is not on the mat. Keep your head lifted. If your head's touching the ground, you might need to clasp your hands and bring your elbows in a little bit. Imagine the belly button lifting you up and back, navel to spine. So feel for Uddiyana Bandha. Let's take about 3 more breaths here. Good. Your last breath, send your sigh out the mouth, let it go. And come on down to your knees. Child's pose. Sit on back to your heels. And just let the body rest here for a few breaths. Good, and come back up, hands and knees. All right, everybody, downward facing dog. Here we go, back on the horse, lift the hips up. Move around a little bit if that's helpful.
Good. Send your right leg back again. Reach it up. So three-legged down dog. Bend your leg, lift and open through your hip. Get a little stretch here. Step your right foot through, warrior two. So turning that back heel flat to the floor and extending out through your arms. Good. Give yourself some time here. So this in and of itself is a bit of a hip opener as we keep that right knee and thigh forward, maybe arranging that knee directly over the ankle. Push with your back foot, so both inner thighs really engage here as you extend out through your arms. Keep your shoulders soft away from the ears. Now let's go ahead and turn the palms up. Put a little bend in the elbows. Lift up through your chest. Take another full breath here. And then arms will come down. Clasp the hands behind the back. And similar to what we did earlier when we were in our chair pose. Pull your elbows that are a little bit bent and shoulder blades toward one another. Lift up through the heart. Maybe that's where you stay. Or you can dive forward into ostrich pose, or this humble warrior. So the thighs continue to pull back. That front leg is still bent. Let your head relax down toward the floor. Good. Take another breath here. And then ground your feet strong through your core. Come back upright, warrior two position. Turn that right palm up. Take left hand to left hip. Stretch the right arm straight up and back into reverse warrior. You could always cradle the back of your head with your hand, or you could take your left arm and wrap it behind the back, fingertips toward the right inner thigh. Strong in that lunge. Take another full breath. See if you can stretch back one more little bit. Come back upright to your warrior two. Take your right elbow or forearm to the right knee or right thigh and stretch the left arm forward alongside your ear for Badakhanasana, extended side angle pose. Root down through that back foot, stretch through the fingertips, maybe slide this right hand down to the inside or the outside of the foot. But really feel into this side body here. In fact, start to open up your chest more toward the ceiling. Take another full breath here. Take your left arm up, gaze down at the floor. You're going to rock your weight forward onto that right foot for Ardha half moon. So press through that right foot, extend and lengthen and open. Maybe keep it here. Or for a little kind of funky variation of this, take your left arm behind your back. Gaze down at the floor. Put a little bend in your standing leg. And unweight your right hand. Bring your right hand to your heart. Good. A couple more breaths here in this balance. It's okay if you wobble just a little bit or fall out of the pose. Take your right hand back down. Stretch your left arm up. Left hand comes down. Step back to your lunge. Now, if you happen to have a block, place your block underneath your left hand just for a little extra height and leverage. Center the right knee over the ankle and then twist, opening up this right arm, fingertips toward the ceiling. And again, strong through your legs and your core. Turn your heart a little more open, maybe even lean back some. Take one more breath here. And then exhale, right hand comes to the inside of this right foot, left knee comes down to the floor. So you might need to inch your right foot over a little bit toward that right side of the mat. Maybe This is your pose. You could come down to your forearms, your elbows here, and drop your shoulder below your right knee. That could be your pose. You could also wrap this right arm and shoulder around the inside of the leg, keeping it here. For those of you that want to move into an arm balance, plant your hands to the floor, pick up your back knee, and walk or hop your back foot forward just a little bit. This is twink pose. Walk your hands beyond your toes, move your shoulders and your knee forward, lean forward, and pick up this back leg. Good, and then let's ease on out of that. Unwind the arm from the leg. Walk your hands to your left and spin your right toes. Whew, finally straighten out that right leg. So we're in a wide straddle. Take an inhale and extend your spine. And then exhale, fold. And take 5 deep breaths here in Prasarita Padottanasana, this wide straddle, forward fold. Good. Take one more cleansing breath here, everybody. Lengthen out your spine, so stretch forward to your flat back. Walk your hands back toward the top of your mat. Step your right foot back to plank. Now listen here, we're going to shift the weight into the right hand into a Vashisthasana variation. But we're going to kick the right foot forward, the bottom foot forward. Okay, so you're rooted with your left foot at the back of the mat. You're in a split. Send your left arm forward alongside your ear and maybe look at your left hand or left fingertips. Good. For those of you that want to really take this up a notch, you could pick up the right foot, grab a hold of the outer edge of the foot, and come into a suspension here. Okay, that's one option. Last full breath. Bring it all the way to plank pose. Come down to your knees. Take your knees a little wider. And send your right arm out and up, open through the chest. Thread the needle. So that right arm goes underneath your left. Breathe here. Good. Taking one more breath. You could even kick your left toes out, kind of push deeper into this stretch. And then let's unwind out of that. Take the right arm back out, reach it up, and bring the right hand back to the floor. Good. Now, before we take that whole thing on the other side, let's take some time moving through the spine. You can come into cat-cow here. Or you could even take child's pose or some hip circles or moving the hips in like a U shape. Take a few more breaths here. Good. And then eventually make your way back to downward facing dog. Hips lift up, strong and lifted through your core. And then extend your left leg back behind you. Stretch it up. Bend your leg and open through your hip. Good. Left foot steps through for warrior two position. Okay, so strong lunge in that left leg. Again, you can kind of think about this as a bit of a hip opener, keeping your left leg open, the left knee moving toward being stacked over the ankle and rooted down with your right foot at the back of your mat. Take an extra breath here. Open up your palms, put a slight bend in your elbows so the shoulders can relax a little bit down the back. The heart stays lifted. Exhale the arms down and you'll clasp your hands behind your back. Try to pull your shoulder blades and even your elbows toward one another. Maybe you stay here and just continue to lift up through your chest. Or you can dive forward into that ostrich pose or humble warrior. Feel your feet on the ground, pull your thighs back, continue to go deeper into this hip opener and opening up the shoulders. 2 more breaths here. Good. Now, strong through your legs and your core, bring your torso back upright and re-extend the arms. Turning the left palm up, right hand can come to the hip. Stretch your left arm up and back, reverse warrior. So you're coming into a bit of a side bend and heart opener. Maybe take your left hand behind the back of your head, cradling that. Or you could take this right arm behind your back, fingertips toward the left inner thigh. Couple more breaths here, you guys. Strong in the legs. Reach back. Open up that left side body. Back upright, warrior two. Keep in this lunge here. Take your left elbow or forearm to your knee. Right arm stretches forward alongside your ear. So really feeling into the right arm and ribs and side body. You could take this left hand down if you want to move deeper into this side. Couple more breaths here. Main thing, we're trying to turn the chest just a little more open toward the ceiling. Good, you guys. Take your right arm straight up. Now look down at the floor, coming into your balance, Ardha Chandrasana or half moon pose. So float the right arm and the right leg up. Good. Keep the inner and outer edges of that left foot grounded and stable. Now you can keep it here or come into that funky balance where we take the top arm, the right arm behind the back. Keep the gaze down at the floor. Unweight your left hand and bring it to your heart. Good. Take another breath here, wherever you are in your balance. Left hand back down, right arm stretches up. Take the right hand down, step back to your lunge. Now if you have a block, grab it and place it underneath the right hand. Keep that left knee centered over the ankle and twist. Twisting lunge, left arm stretches up. Push into the ground or block with your right hand and start to turn the chest more open. 2 more cleansing breaths here. And left hand comes down to the inside of the left foot. Drop your right knee down to the floor. All right, so low lunge. Hands can stay here, arms can stay straight. Or maybe you come down to the forearms underneath to the floor. Or, as we did before, you could take this left arm, wrap it around the inside of the left leg so that left hand ends up on the pinky toe side of the foot. Now, for those of you that want to move into this arm balance, pick up your back knee, hop the back foot forward just a little bit. This is twig pose. We're going to walk the hands beyond the toes, pick up the left heel, move the shoulders and the knee forward, and then pick up this back leg. Kind of running into the couch here, so we've got to shift a little bit. Take another breath. Good, and then we'll unwind out of that. Walk the hands now to the right. Woo, finally we get to straighten out that leg. And feet, all 10 toes facing the same direction, feet parallel. Flat back as you inhale. Exhale, fold. 5 deep breaths here. Maybe this time around, you unweight your hands, clasp the hands behind your back, and fold it in. Good. Last breath here. So if you've got your clasp, go ahead and release that. Hands down to the floor, stretch forward, flat back. Walk your hands back up toward the top of your mat. Step your left foot to plank. Shift your weight into your left hand for Badakhanasana variation. Now again, we're going to press, we're going to kick the left foot forward. The bottom foot goes forward. Root down with your right foot at the back of your mat. Pull your hips up. Stretch your right arm forward alongside your ear and see if you can maybe gaze at your right hand, your right fingertips. Keep your breath strong. And again, if you wanted to take it up a notch, you could float this left foot off of the mat, grab a hold of the foot with the right hand and kick it forward. Okay, so take another full breath here. And all the way back to your plank. Come right down to your knees. Take your knees a little bit wider. Stretch your left arm up, open through your chest. Thread the needle. So left arm underneath your right. And maybe you kick your right toes off to the right a little bit and push and move more into this stretch through your shoulder and your upper back. Take another breath here. And let's go ahead and unwind out of that. Send the left arm up and bring it to the floor, hand to the floor. Good. Come back to your movement through cat-cow or child's pose or hip circles. Good. Nice job, everybody. And then we're going to make our way to a seat on the mat. And we're going to bring the soles of the feet together into Badakhanasana, this bound angle or cobbler's pose. Take an inhale and lengthen up through your spine. And then as you exhale, start to come forward. Good. So feeling into your hips, hip flexors, groin, maybe a little bit into the low back. Good. And then I'd like for you to lean over toward your right knee or your right side. Take your left hand to your left inner thigh and push it away. Push like you're trying to lengthen your right femur, right thigh bone away from you. Sorry, your left thigh bone. And then come back through center, and then lean your body over to your left and press your right thigh away. Good. And back through center and over to your right. Press your left thigh away. And center. And lean to the left and press your right thigh away. Good. And do this one more time, each direction, if it feels good to you. If not, you can just hold it steady. Good. And back through center. And we're going to go ahead and ease our way back up, back to an upright position. Bring the hands to the outsides of your knees and guide your knees together. And then I'd like for you to go ahead and roll down onto your backs here. Hug the knees in toward your chest. You could reach up and grab a hold of your feet, happy baby pose. Good. Sometimes I like to rock side to side when I'm in this pose, just a little bit of movement and gentle massage for the low back. Good. Take one more breath here. Release your feet down to the floor. Take your feet just a little bit wider than your hips, about the width of your mat. Windshield wiper, knees to the right. Maybe turn your head to your left. And then back up through center and knees to the left. Turn your head to your right. Good. And just on your own time and rhythm, go back and forth in this reclined windshield wiper pose. And you can certainly pause anywhere along the way. That makes sense. Now, the next time your knees drop to your right, I want you to stay there for a few breaths, and you might pick up your right foot and let it rest on top of the outer left leg or thigh. So the weight of your right leg is helping to accentuate that stretch on your outer left leg and hip, and even to your lower back. Good. Take one more breath here. And then with the right leg on top of the left leg, you're going to bring both knees back up through center. So now you're in a figure 4 reclined pigeon stretch. And keep the left foot on the ground for just a moment. Take the right hand to the right thigh and press it away, kind of like what we were doing in Badakhanasana. So feel for some traction and space in that crease of your right hip joint. You could even rock side to side or move around a little bit. And maybe keeping it there, or you could always pick up that left foot and reach your hands through and clasp around the back of your left leg. Good. Send the breath down into your hips. Just giving them a little TLC. Good. Take one more breath here. And then we're going to release out of that. Uncross the legs. Stretch the arms out wide again. Drop both knees to your left. Windshield wiper twist. Pick up your left foot and ankle and let it rest on top of your outer right leg. So that added weight, emphasizing that stretch, that opening. And certainly if this does not feel good to your knees or your hips, then just uncross your legs. Good. Take one more breath here. And then you're going to bring both knees back up through center. So you're in a figure 4, stretch, recline pigeon. Take the left hand to your left thigh and just gently press it forward, opening up that crease of your left hip joint and creating a little bit of traction in your lower back on that side. And maybe rocking side to side. Again, certainly you can keep it as is, or picking up the right foot, reaching the hands through and clasping around the right leg or right thigh. Lots of deep breath here in and around your left hip joint. Take one more breath here. And then you're going to go ahead and uncross the legs, release, stretch your legs out to the floor, reach your arms up and back alongside your ears. Give yourself a nice deep stretch. And then let your arms come down. Now you can move right into Shavasana from here, or you can take any last pose. If you'd like to take an inversion or bridge pose or shoulder stand or anything to finish your practice, you're welcome to do so. And taking just a minute or so to settle into your final relaxation or corpse pose. Good, and as you're ready to make your way there, and there's no rush, take all the time that you need. You can allow the body, invite the body to let go and to settle and to ground into this Shavasana, final relaxation. And once again, this is how the light comes.
by Jan Richardson. I cannot tell you how the light comes. What I know is that it is more ancient than imagining, that it travels across an astounding expanse to reach us, that it loves searching out what is hidden, what is lost, what is forgotten, or in peril, or in pain. That it has a fondness for the body, for finding its way toward flesh, for tracing the edges of form, for shining forth through the eye, the hand, the heart. I cannot tell you how the light comes, but that it does, that it will, that it works its way into the deepest dark that enfolds you. Though it may seem long ages in coming, or arrive in a shape you did not foresee. And so, may we this day turn ourselves toward it. May we lift our faces to let it find us. May we bend our bodies to follow the arc it makes. May we open and open more and open still to the blessed light that comes. And certainly you are welcome to remain in Shavasana for as long as you'd like here. When you are ready to reawaken, to transition, to open, just start to expand your breath and to move your bodies. Maybe coming over to your side into a fetal position for just a moment. And then back up to your seat on your mat. On your next in-breath, stretch your arms all the way up, lengthen, and then hands gather together at the heart. There will always be light. May we be brave enough to see it. May we be brave enough to be it. We finish with one round of Om. Take a full breath in. Namaste. Thanks, team. Good job.